Right, we are live. Hey Dave, how you doing?
Hello there. How you doing today, Andre?
Yeah, all good. It's been a bit of a busy day today, but we're gonna get there in the end. Yeah, luckily, unfortunately for me, it wasn't much of preparation. It's mostly for you. So, but yeah, I can't wait to be looking at the AI stuff that you've discovered with the command line tool. So that'll be good.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, this has been yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot, but I'm still very much in noob mode for sure here, and but I will try to um, kind of share my process here as I'm going through and learning this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, figure out where the best place to start. But this definitely we're starting off on a tangent because when I'm coming at AI, I mean, there's so many different things to learn. And you and I both we went after looking at the Azure engineering or the Azure AI engineer certification, right? We're going after. We've already looked at that material and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, but there's so much of the focus right now is on really learning large language models. And as I try to get my head around what's happening with Copilot and what they're building for the technology people can actually put into practice and use
Yeah.
around the large language models. Uh, the biggest challenge, it seems like, with Copilot is how do you uh, give Copilot the context for your work, for your own business, right? So, how do you use tools like retrieval augmented generation or RAG or RAG to show the large language model, build a program around it so that it can retrieve the information that you want it to have to help to understand you and to work with you. So I've been researching a lot of the Azure tools around this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really become, and as a trainer, you kind of get into the situation where so much of what we're doing is looking up all these really cool Microsoft resources for learning.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just start off here. Azure samples on GitHub. And actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and take over. Let me go ahead and present. Let's do share screen, and I'll just do, yeah, it's this one here. And what I may do as we work through this, I'm going to start putting some notes into a markdown file, and I'll share that on a repo we can put out there.
Yeah, I think that would be really useful for people to have a look with the markdown. Hey, we could use AI to generate it, but yeah, that's another topic.
Yeah, are we recording this? We should, yeah, AI should be making a transcript, and we should look at those tools. I'd like to explore that a little bit. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So the Git repository here, and actually, let me make sure. I've just rebooted, so let me install. Can't present without Zoom it on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so everybody should know about GitHub and the Azure Samples organization, 2,500 different repositories, all sorts of things. What's the most popular repository right now is this Azure Search OpenAI demo.
Okay.
And this is really highlighting the challenge around retrieval augmented generation. So they've done a really amazing job with this repository of implementing some really cool technologies to highlight how they recommend people build on basically how do you teach your large language model, how do you teach your version, this, you can use this for Copilot, you can use this for your own projects, but this retrieval augmented generation pattern, you're basically using this to build a database of documents and building an index on top of that database that is accessible by the large language model as you have your own instance of OpenAI that you're working with, GPT-3, GPT-4. So this example, yeah, go ahead.
Consumed by both models. Is that what you're saying? Both models can actually use this.
I believe so. There's a lot that only works with GPT-4, but a lot of this works with GPT-3.5
Okay.
and other models. And I'm so taking a step back. Well, I want to work and focus on the Azure tools because I'm just most comfortable in that environment. Like it's a good lane for me to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the approaches that are model agnostic. So GPT-4 is definitely getting the most interest now for things. People that are building things are focused in on GPT-4, and I am as well. But that being said, I want to be conscious about building solutions where I could swap in and try other models with what's going on with the open source models, Anthropic, what's going on with Google's model, and keeping that space highly competitive. I really want them to be competing with each other because for us as the consumers, as the users of these technologies, the more competition there in those models, the better it is for us. And so we want to be building our solutions with that competition in mind, so as much as possible, being able to swap out models as we work with these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested in playing around with what Claude, these different things like Opus and Haiku, and there's other really neat options. And then I'll have a lot of stuff that's in the Google workspace, so that Gemini, that stuff is really fascinating. But 90% of what I've been doing so far is just playing around with what I can get from Azure's OpenAI, right? So this is a really good repository for learning. And but I'm almost immediately going to take a tangent. I'm going to stop talking and focusing at least on the AI and instead talk about the implementation of this sample.
Okay? Right. Yes. Yeah. Because this was my question. How would you use this? Either as a demo or even in a real world situation.
That's great. Oh, this is great. So, and you have not played with this Azure developer command line tool, right? AZD. You've not played with this yet. So this will be a treat.
Yeah, I don't think I have. Maybe I have. I don't remember. I think I must have when I told AI 1 or 2, but that was a long time ago now. So yeah, I might have gotten rusty.
Okay, good. All right. So I won't take any assumptions, but I'm going to rely on what you already know about pipelines because you already looked at YAML code, you already look at Bicep, and you can look at infrastructure as code, right? So for now, I just want you to think of AZD as a way to deliver the infrastructure in known infrastructure as code format using workflows, either Azure DevOps pipeline or GitHub workflows. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, once you have the infrastructure in place, let's run some scripts to deploy the code on top of that, so we have a really consistent place to run code. So the developer who builds this has a nice, easy environment for development, and then when it's time to deploy it, it's taking that same approach. All right. So AZD. So my next tangent then will be focusing in on AZD. So if you look for awesome repos in GitHub, there's awesome for everything, right? So this awesome AZD is a really good resource for this. And they have a front end page. They have a GitHub page here that doesn't deploy right now. So this part's not up, but the back end of it is. And this is a curated set of resources for learning Azure developers CLI. And I'm going to just defer to a lot of these resources that are out here already, like this Azure Friday video, references and stuff. And there's a tag. So you see here, AZD templates on GitHub, right? So you can go and say, well, I'm curious, who is implementing these things on GitHub, right? So I can just click on that link. So if you go to this topics here, anybody that's tagged their project as an Azure Developer CLI template is going to show up here, right? So you can see how people are using this. So, I mean, the best way to learn, it's at some point you start, if you're looking through tutorials and stuff like that, but let's just jump in and look at other people's code has become a really great way to pick it up, right?
We saw this lot on Tuesday as well. It's just like, we kind of jumped into the code, but like it was, you learn by doing. One of my key aspects is to actually try something. If I don't try it, then I'm not gonna feel like I've learned it. I guess some people have different personas. Like some people can just, visual learn. But for me, I'm definitely a practical learner. I have to try something in order to fully learn it.
Yes. So the hands-on part, like, and you know what, and you're in the same boat as I am, like, because you're working with the stuff all day long, and you got your hands on it, and you want to go explain that to somebody. How are you going to translate that knowledge without having them, clicking the keys with you, right? So much of this is hands-on learning. Yeah. So,
So
so this is a good resource for you. Then I think you're going to like learning this way.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try and follow along as well.
All right, cool. So this, coincidentally or not, I'm not sure if it's a coincidence, but if I look at this topic here, the top in terms of the most stars, the top project is the same Azure Search OpenAI demo. Okay, that I've implemented here. There's also one. Looks like there's a reference architecture with Contoso Real Estate for JavaScript. Oh, OpenAI. I'm not familiar with Playwright. GPT RAG. So top 5, 6 of the template projects built with AZD are all focused on learning different aspects of OpenAI or Chat GPT, retrieval augmented generation. Okay, so this is where Microsoft is putting their attention. So if let's go back to this repo. So one of the ways you can get a feel for an open source repository, hey, how many forks is there? How many watches? How many stars? That's all really popular. And then the contributors here. So a really good hack I found as I'm working with this stuff a lot is it might be difficult for you to get a conversation going with somebody that works at Microsoft. But one of the easiest ways I found is when you interact with these projects, the people who are building this stuff are very often they're responsible for making changes and updates to these projects. So here, Pamela Fox, I'll talk about her too, because she's got a really good talk on YouTube. I'll bring it up. But I can get in here and submit an issue. Hey, I've got a problem. I can submit an issue with this, or I could even come up with make my own change, make my own fork of this, make a change to it, suggest a change. Here's my pull request. And now we're collaborating with the community and with Microsoft on these technologies, which is just so cool. Right. So I'm not quite ready to go and jump into this deep end of the pool yet, but I get a good indicator that there's a lot of it's really active and a lot of people that are interested in this, right? Based on the interaction that I see here.
Yeah,
all right,
I mean,
so
you can even see by the amount of branches, tags, and Microsoft do keep that up to date as well. So like there's a lot of pull requests as well, but it seems like, yeah, exactly. So there is a lot of development happening still. So
yeah. So what a great place to learn. And they're figuring out too. I think they're just a few, maybe they're a couple of years ahead of us in some knowledges, or maybe even a few months ahead in some technologies. And they're just learning and building what they know into here to explain the challenge of building Chat GPT-like experiences over your own data using the retrieval augmented generation pattern, right? So as they come up with best practices, they're implementing them here. So this is like a real, if we can keep up with the technology and, kind of drink from the fire hose, this is a really great way to learn about, the best way to work with these technologies. So they built this app as a simple web front end, which right now for me is not working. I'm trying to deploy it. It's using an instance of Azure OpenAI, and it's built an index of some background documents to be able to ask the chatbot about employee benefits and different things that are included in that knowledge base. Yeah. So but again, I want to say we're taking a tangent from this. So that's what the app is going to be. But here, how did it actually get deployed? So let's go look at the ways that we can deploy this. So if we scroll down, the documentation is really great. So you just want to skip ahead of me. Under the docs folder here is everything in Markdown to do different customizations and understanding different parts of this project.
Yeah.
Right. So if I stay at the top level, README, I'm decided to use it as a GitHub code space. Okay, but you can also deploy it containers or locally, and they walk you through how to do the deployment. And basically, you just like using an AZ login. Okay, you would do an AZD login. Okay, you create an environment, so you give it a new name for that ends up becoming the pattern for your resource group. Right? And then once you have it logged in and you created an environment, okay, you do AZD up, and this will deploy the infrastructure, and then it will deploy the code on top of it. If you just want to update the code, like after the infrastructure has been deployed, you can use AZD deploy to do that. All right. So, so they walk through the steps. So I happen to have over here, I've actually connected into it with Visual Studio Code. It's the insiders version here, right? So I've already got a code spaces opened up with this, right? And I've already deployed it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you around it a little bit, and then maybe do a different deployment to a different environment.
Sure.
Yeah. So here, let's actually here. Let me clear the screen here first. So again, the nice thing about CodeSpace is I don't have to set up the environment. Everything that it needs can be defined in the project. There's a .devcontainer.json and .vs code for all the customizations I want in my own environment to be able to work with this. Oh yeah, also let's look at the other code while we're here. There's a YAML file for the deployment for Azure DevOps pipelines. So traditionally that goes in this .azdo folder. There's a work equivalent in the GitHub workflows. Okay, and this one's actually a little bit more developed. So they've broken out different workflows for tests and other things in here. I'm still exploring this. And then the infrastructure code under infra, and then the app code is here.
Still seeing just one screen, I think. But yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm not sharing my, here, let me do this.
Yeah.
Let's present, share the screen. Let's do entire screen.
Yeah, there we go. That's much better.
Right. Okay, yeah, sorry. No, thank you. Let me know. I thought I was doing the whole screen. So that same code that I was looking at in that repository, this is how it shows up inside of a code space. In this case, I'm using the code space inside of Visual Studio Code, the insiders build, right? So you can connect to these in a variety of different ways. So I'm just poking around at the code, which you can see from the repository itself. But we talked about where the workflow files are for Azure DevOps and for GitHub. Customization for the individual development container in VS Code. The app code, there's backend, the data that gets put into the database, the documents, the infrastructure is code, so everything's in Bicep primarily. And then there's a handful of scripts that are both Python and a PowerShell. They seem like they're supporting both. And a set of tests that get run during the deployment. Right. So as I'm exploring this, I'm kind of getting a feel for how this development process and this development would work. But let me go ahead and get it off the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm in that folder here. So if I already have AZD, so I need to do AZD login. I've already done this. Log into AZD auth login. Let me bring, and I'm going to log into my demo account. And then you can do AZD, and there's a lot of commands that come along with AZD. So I'm going to do a show because I already got an application deployed. But then I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new environment. And then I'm going to do AZD up, which will provision the resources and deploy the project with a single command. If I want to break that up into pieces, hey, I just want to do my infrastructure, I'll do AZD provision. And then, hey, I want to deploy my app on top of that, AZD deploy, right? So AZD up encapsulates both of those.
Oh, okay. So it combines those two. Oh, that's an interesting concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, all right. So let's see here. So if I do AZD ENV, let's show AZD list ENV. Let me make it a little bit bigger here. Make this a little bit smaller. So we do AZD ENV list. Okay, I've already created an environment, this demo 2024-03 environment, right?
Mhm.
So I've actually already run through and done this deployment. That is, if I go back to the Visual Studio, sorry, the portal, here's the resource group, and here's everything that it's already deployed. So it created an app service plan in the app front end, which right now is not working. I'm still troubleshooting it. It's an instance of Azure OpenAI. Document intelligence. So this is where the interaction between the LLM is done between that and the search service. So and then there's a storage account where it puts those documents in. So it builds an index using actually, I'm not sure how the document intelligence interacts. I used to use this for like being able to do recognition off of documents. And I'm still understanding. I think it's using this as part of the search. There's a search index, right? And it's got at least one index deployed. And there's also the instance of Azure OpenAI. And I think models and stuff, I think I need to go into, I have to go into the OpenAI studio to look at that. But before we go there, let's just go ahead and create a new environment and let's deploy it. And then let's see
yeah,
our process. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so we do AZD, ENV, new. I'm going to call it Demo 2024 Live. All right, so then I'm going to do, instead of new, I'm going to do ENV. I'm going to do select. I need to select. I need to give it an argument. Maybe it's the, I'm going to do -H. So it needs, I just give it the environment. So Demo 2024 Live. All right, so now watch. All I have to do here, if I clear the screen, I should just do AZD up. And the rest of it should happen automatically. So I tell it which subscription. I think I want to use this one. I'm going to accept the default here for the ECUS2. Document intelligence.
Region. Okay, so let's just break this down. Let's slow down for a second. So you're doing subscription to use. So you're picking your subscription. You're picking the location that you want to use. So like your region. Now you're picking what is this for?
So there's some resources that are not yet available everywhere. So if I need to use document intelligence, I need to pick one of the few regions where it's supported. I'm going to see if I can get away with East US here. My OpenAI resource, I'm going to try also. I'm going to try East US. Now it may fail. I may run into some resource limitation here. Sometimes East US will be busy, but there's several different products in the AI space that they're releasing gradually, including the different versions of the large language model, different capabilities with indexing, the document intelligence. That you have to pick the region that it's in for you to be able to work with it. Agents, there's an agents feature that's in preview in only certain regions. All right, yeah, it's deploying. So notice here it created a resource group based on the name I gave it for my environment.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
And then if I do this, I can go in to see the deployment. So I can watch it here from the portal. Oh, you know what? There's a debug option. I should have turned the debug option when I did the deployment. And you can see a lot more information about this. But yeah, there it is. Here I am in the deployment section of the resource group.
Yeah, so let's see what resources are actually being deployed. Yeah, so it's deploying a resource group and it's deploying a long one. Looks like it's almost finished. How long does it usually take? A couple
It
minutes
takes
again?
about 20 minutes end to end, so we probably won't get to see the whole thing today.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
it's
you've got an end state, right, already, so we can review
yeah,
that.
yeah. So if I come back to the other resource group here, the original demo here, I go into my deployments. I can see that this one deployed earlier, everything deployed successfully. So normally, and I'm still trying to troubleshoot it, but there's an app service plan. Okay, they create the storage account, search service, document intelligence, the instance for OpenAI, and we interact with it through this web service. So right now, this is not working for me. If I click on browse here, I'm going to get a 500 error. There's something that didn't deploy well.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, it's in the name, isn't it? It's backend, so it shouldn't really be accessible front end anyway.
So I don't have any other way other than what we can do. Oh, that's not coming. That should I at least should be able to browse that.
Well, I don't know. It's I'm just thinking if it's something that's backend, usually you shouldn't have the configuration to be able to access it over public. It's probably that you would need to configure something I guess as best practice. So if you wanted to actually access our public, either like something like I don't know Bastion or like something which is like no, probably not Bastion because that's an app service, but like you probably would need to create some a front door service or or something which will point to that. And like a load balancer, for example, you could deploy a load balancer, which will have your front end, but then it'll point to the back end over the infrastructure. Because from what it sounded like, it's not made to be publicly accessible.
So along the lines of what you're talking about, actually, there's a few of these that actually had the infrastructure, in the implementation inside of the samples. There was also here.
Well, and actually, it does say running locally, navigate to 127.0 because you're using the code space to because you've used AZ. Here it is. They've got the instructions. So running.
Oh, this is a different one. Yeah, where's the instructions for this one?
So
this is a separate project.
Yeah, they say these are the instructions. Let me just push it out in the chat. So they say run AZD off login, then you should change your directory to the app, and then run the start1.ps1 or start.sh or run the VS Code task start app.
Okay. All right. It did actually end up coming up. So yes, it says backend here. But they give you these different questions that you can try out, and there's a set of data. Oh, and we can go look at that data too. That's actually part of the project. It's working on answering that question. In data. Yeah. So the PDF with the benefits and the company information and the perks. So all that stuff is here. So I can look through these documents here and come up with questions to ask it here. But it's taking a long time.
Is there any way you can speed it up, increase the temperature, or certain
for this one, I'm still figuring out how this thing works. I would imagine I could pay for maybe able to pay for faster access with lower response time. I'm not actually sure this is working. Let me actually look at the developer console and see if there's any errors here. Let's do.
Okay, so it doesn't have specific information.
Yeah, it's trying to do failed to get a refresh, but that's not. What can we do? Can you tell me? What services does Northwind Health Plus plan cover? So the fact that it's telling me it doesn't have access to that, I wonder if there's a problem with its access to the index. One of the things I could use besides this app for the front end here, I could also go look at the I could actually interact with the model from here. I could go into, is it this one? Which one did I deploy earlier? It's probably this one. And have a look at an Azure AI Studio. But yeah, but actually before our demo, that page was not working. So I'm excited that it's working, but I wish it was giving us back some better information.
Yeah.
So this is
Sometimes
the new AI
Azure
Studio.
takes a bit of time, don't they? Or like whenever you deploy, sometimes things take a long time. Right. So you're in the Azure AI Studio. So what do we do with this?
Yes. So now I'm looking here because I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with our model. So this gives us ability to go in and try out different models. These are all preview features. I have access to, maybe I don't have access to some of these things yet. This is still taking a long time. So yeah, it looks like the index is broken. So now I need to troubleshoot this. Let's see what we can do here while we're working with the catalog. So what I've actually got deployed. So I'm in the David content directory. Can it show me? Shows me the different models I have available. Usually, you know what? This is the new AI Studio. The if I go back to OpenAI Studio, this should show me the model that I have that's deployed and give me a playground against it. Yeah, I haven't played enough with the preview yet to know my way around there. So I go to my deployments. So I can see that it's deployed. It's using 3.5. And then and it's using the text embedding for Ada. And so I can come in and shows the models that I have available. So there's a couple of preview models. The data sets aren't showing up in here. So I don't think I'd be able to play with that model here. So I guess one of the things I'm going to try to figure out is now that that thing is deployed and I've got that web app working, I want to be able to use that same model and I want to be able to use that data in the playground as well. I'm expecting to see that in here. So notice, oh yeah, they've updated this now. So the new AI Studio includes, maybe it's in document intelligence. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you did deploy document intelligence, didn't you?
Yeah, so maybe I'm just not looking into the right place. So this is something I need to explore. So this is all various models, different document analysis, but this doesn't look like it's familiar with my existing index. So let me hunt down, find out the way to work with this. So I'm expecting to see. There's the, okay. So there's the document intelligence resource that we've got. Okay, so it's already been populated with the documents that are listed there.
Mm-hmm.
So
what kind of things can you do with the documents?
this isn't giving me a chat option. Yeah, for here, I got the ability to, what's the analysis going to give me? Actually, I haven't played with this very much yet. So I've used this before for being able to read receipts and invoices and things like that.
Okay, so we do see that it has recognized a few boxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if there's a fields, there's a key value pairs that we can see on the right. So
yeah,
it's noticing that there is an address.
That's right. Yeah. And then it can, so it looks like it exposes that data as a as JSON. I can get it in this visual review here. I can get it out as JSON, so I could pull that into some other system. I think that's what's getting populated into the index for it to be able to use this information for retrieval augmented generation, to be able to feed this to the model so I can ask the model questions about it. So that's the next thing I got to figure out too. I got to understand better how that works.
Yeah.
And how this index is built, because I can see in the code, let me go back to the code for a minute, that when it builds the indexes.
Could you maybe ask a question? I could, like, for example, could you show me the address of the of whatever this document is, or the company?
Questions. Hey, what can you tell me about? I'm suspecting the way that it's responding is I can't ask it anything right now. I'm hoping that if I come into AI Studio here, I guess for next week, I got to figure this thing. How do I get this thing to talk to? This is from December. So it's not seeing the data that I want to look at here. Document analysis is giving me the data, but this is not the chat interface. This is not where I can ask it questions. This is taking the information and putting it into a form. Basically, that JSON is suitable for me to then send to to create a document index. So I'm not able to here at least figure out how to ask it questions about that about that document yet.
Yeah,
so
that's the kind of beauty that you want, right? You want it to ask the chat about the information that you might have had. That it's basically a good retrieval tool, right? So instead of you having to search manually through the plethora of documents that you may have, you could just ask this search, and it should be able to provide you that information.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a, this is way, I was just kind of exploring this back in December, just kind of playing around with having a look at it. So there's a lot more for me to figure out. I do not understand yet about this. So I have seen in the deployment, in the pipeline code, where's the script? Inline script. So I want to find, I know one of the commands in here is prepare the docs. So this is the PowerShell and the Python code that's preparing the docs to be loaded into the index.
Mm-hmm.
So they're populating that storage account. And another thing for me to figure out is what are the technologies they're using to build, to pull in the data, get it on the storage account, and then chunk, basically build it into the indexes. So this is the next thing for me to explore. I will say that one of the people that's working on this project, actually, I called her out here, Pamela Fox. I'm going to share one of the videos here. I'll put it in the chat. This was a really good explanation I found of what are the challenges with retrieval augmented generation. And here, she's contributing to this project. This was a recording that she made of a presentation that she did to describe this. And this has just been one of the most helpful things I found to understand the terms and terminology around this. Take a look at this. She put the speaker notes. Her deck is here.
Okay.
And there's a couple of other, in addition to this project for Azure samples, she's also got another one, her own GitHub on working with different aspects of vector search. So yeah, shout out to Pamela Fox. This is really helpful. Her channel, she's got a handful of videos there. This is the one that's got the most views on there. It's just really good explanation of the challenges and how retrieval augmented generation is designed to solve all these things. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I definitely will share out, and yeah, thank you, Pamela, for producing such great content. I definitely will check it out, man.
Yeah. So for, I guess, between now and next week, I'm going to dive into how the heck all this thing works. Show me how all this infrastructure is built.
Let's give it a go. See if we can make it work.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the problem now? That the AI cannot find the information about what the document or.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost like the index either is empty or it didn't get built properly. It's not finding the index. So I need to go be able to look at this, how that part works. There's a way to turn on additional telemetry for these deployments. So I need to figure out the right log file to look at.
Monitor.
Okay. Yeah. So I got to figure out how do we turn that on. Actually, let me go back to the
turn on by
documents here. There was. The ways you can do this from a free account, how you can set up optional features, debugging the app. So I'm getting some basic logs to Azure App Service, deployment log, app log, Azure Monitor, and the log levels. Look at the deployment log. The deployment log under the Deployment Center. You can take a look there. I think the infrastructure all got deployed. Well, I don't think it's a deployment issue because the website's there. Or at least at the infrastructure level. Success, yeah. So it looks like it deployed the thing successfully. And then deployment log, application log. So I can go into download the Docker logs from it. Okay. So can I get to it from here? That's not the Docker logs.
Yeah, you're not. I would say let's try deploying again.
Oh, you know what? I didn't check the result of the last deployment.
Or like just use for your thing AZD deploy or something like that.
Yeah. So here's the last deployment we just did live. So at that time it only took 7 minutes and change. So let's go look in this resource group, RG Demo 2024 live resource.
Might work. Yeah, maybe the reason why your one took a long time was maybe something narrowed out, or highly possible. So try this instance.
App service plan. So our app. blocked. At least we got a title.
I can chat. So not just click on one of them.
It might be that it's still deploying, but that one failed. Sit and wait for that to deploy. But it's just fascinating to me how much is all stuffed into this one command, right? So it deployed all of these resources. It set up an environment for the scripting. So it ran Python, so it set up the requirements. So it prepared the documents, set up the index. It created the search index. So there's a set of data it already found in the search index. You know, another thing we can try is it still. I see it's doing the same thing. I do know one other thing we can try. I know how time we got. It's 6:30 already. But if we look at the AI search, and if we look at so here's the one that failed. Actually, they both failed. Go into here's the second one. If I go into indexes here, I can search this thing. And it's just a basic query search, but it's not coming back with any results. So I'm thinking there's something with how this thing. So there's no storage here. So I need to look at how the index got provisioned, and maybe I actually would kind of run through that Python script that provisions this, and see if I can find the problem with this, because I bet something failed in that provisioning script here for the preparing the docs or creating the index. So that's the next thing I got to troubleshoot.
I can see that this or the documentation and everything may have been done like 3 months ago. So maybe the documentation just hasn't kept up. And that's something for us to look into and see if we can figure it out. And then let's try and we can also probably, if we do find the fix, let's try and share it as well. But it must be something simple that we're not doing. I mean, this is like, I possibly could try it on mine if you want.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Maybe it's already out here. Maybe it's already. Maybe it's one of these issues that's already outstanding.
All right. I'm just gonna try and create code spaces for me, I guess. I'm creating a code space for me in the background as well, seeing if I can do something in the background as well to figure it out.
Yeah, this thing is fun. I think that there's so we do troubleshooting.
What's the live demo about? Something breaking? That's always the
Something
way.
has to break.
Something has to break during a live demo. Nothing ever will work 100%. And it's a broken stuff you'll remember about, not the things that actually worked.
Yeah, that's right. And the good news is that all the stuff that did work, so all of the infrastructure, all of the stuff that I care about, at least from the infrastructure perspective. So I'm mostly supporting the developers. So I would say, hey, this part's done. It's the code that has to be figured out. It's the infrastructure that's working.
I got my code space. What do I do? Is it easy?
Drop to terminal inside the code space.
Yep, I'm there.
And then do AZD auth login. AZD auth login.
Okay. I will copy that code. Then I will press enter to continue from the browser. I'm entering the code.
Let's have you share.
Sure. I wasn't expecting to share, but it's okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
Present. Share screen. Share screen. Right. I'm just going to connect to my IT workspace.
Let's see. So we'll do.
I'll help if I actually remember my password.
Yeah, we do all that first. CD. Maybe you can just do the fun, like the AZD up environment on screen. That'll be fun. What else can I check? I also need to go look. If I know that if I think it fell on the index, I got to think of a way to test that.
Right, log in, continue. Right, I've signed in.
So you did the AZD auth login?
AZD. Yeah, I'm logged in. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Go ahead and share. I'll stop sharing. Wait, no, I already stopped.
All right. Okay. Let me see if I can share now. My entire screen. Share, and then can you see my screen?
Yeah, there it is.
All right. So I'm logged in. I ran AZD auth login. I'm logged in today. I guess. Is it AZD now account show?
Yeah.
So I was gonna.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do AZD ENV.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll work. That should work. Or I don't know if AZD logs you in with AZ.
COI, isn't it? So, AZD and ENV, you said.
That's right.
And
then it wants you to use new to create a new one or list.
So if I do AZD and new,
yeah.
How do I select the subscription that's going to be deployed to?
You can do AZD ENV. I think it's set. Let me see if I'm right.
Okay, AI test. I'm going to do AI search test as a name for my environment name.
Okay.
But how would I get it to connect to my?
Well, the first time you run it, it'll pick from the ones it has available, unless you. What can you do? Let's try do AZD. Config AZD config set, and you can do default subscription and then your subscription ID.
Default.
Paste it in the chat.
Yeah, please. That would help a lot. So apologies for the. I should have another screen for this, but yeah.
Oh, let me do that. This comment has failed to post. I'm going to put it in the private chat. It didn't like that one.
Yeah. Just gonna grab the private chat. That's us. Right. So I'm gonna do now. Oh right, I need to actually set my subscription. So hold on, just doing a quick notepad because I had the enter there. That's why I didn't like it. So if I copy this. And then the subscription, let me just log into my portal Azure and grab my subscription.
The fun part, all the security is the fun part.
Yes.
What else I need to?
Always a fun part, isn't it? Security.
Yeah. I do appreciate the easiness now that I'm committed using that Microsoft Authenticator and just having it prompt me to log in instead of the passwords when I can use that. That's super cool.
Apparently, it wants me to also put in my. This one. Should be. So another way through the request, please. Have my authenticator. Should give me an authentication. I just had it. It's probably something on the app. It's weird. Okay. More information.
Uh-oh.
It's just, yeah, always a live demo, right? It's like, I'm like, excuse me, but this is, oh yeah, I know why, because it's trying to log into a different tenant and I need to set up that tenant again.
I can go back to the troubleshooting piece here.
Yeah, 1 second. It's this.
I'm looking at Docker logs at this point, trying to understand what's going on with the log issue. Zip.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'll have access right now. I can get access, but it's gonna take me. Hold on, let me just do another way. Go to Azure.
That's right. I'm looking at the logs from these Docker files, so we can look at those together. Let's see here.
I'm gonna stop sharing now. Let you do it again because I was ill prepared to be presenting right now. So you go ahead.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the just. I love the fact that we're just trying this stuff and doing it this way. So yeah, I'm happy to do it with all the bumps that are implied. Here, let me go back to sharing, and I'm looking at. So I got into share screen. This one, right? So in your Azure App Service, you can go into whatever your URL is .scm, right? That service control manager. This one's actually set up for Linux, but so it's a slightly different UI than the one for Windows. I used to have to use the one for Windows quite a lot, but this one here, it deployed a Docker container into a Linux instance of an app service. So I got all those, and I'm looking through the Docker logs right now. Listening, auth class. I don't see anything useful in there though. It looks like that part deployed okay. And I wonder if I stream the logs. It's going to give me anything else that's useful.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to add it to this page. I was trying to look in background. Right, so it still hasn't found anything, huh?
No, yeah. So I'm giving myself homework for next time, I think. But when I looked through, I don't see anything useful in the Docker logs. Looks like the Docker application started up okay. Everything's running. So I don't see anything there. application startup is working. So I guess my next mission will be to play around with it in the search. I wonder if I can get straight to the index here and just troubleshoot the index. Here's the demo we did together. I go to this index, GPT KB index. See, it's not populating. Something's, so I got to figure out why it's not populating. Yeah. So that's just something I should troubleshoot next. But the implementation and all of the pieces that are set up here and that's working. And I had this was working last week. So it might have been, oh, you know what? Actually, now that I look at it, it looks like there's a push that they did recently that maybe that's failing the build.
That can happen.
Yeah. All right. So this is, again, I don't mind that it's breaking. This is bleeding edge. This is fun. But now that I'm looking at this, and now that I'm looking for more tangents, more docs for the app here. The blog for the engineers at Microsoft talking about RAG. This is from a year ago, but I remember that this began that their push for different ways to use RAG, different types of the semantic ranking and combining those tools.
Okay, I've configured my AZD config. So what should I do next? Is it just, do I do AZD up?
Yeah. So now you have that you did the AZD and be new, right? So now you're going to do AZD up. You want to display, or you want to just you want to present it, or you want to?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. I'll stop screen.
You don't have to sub screen. I can always switch us between. Okay.
So, you can just take it over. Yeah. Okay.
So just next time, just keep it on. I'll show it. So if I'm show, oh my gosh, right. So if I show this, I have got AZD config set the default subscription. So I've set my subscription. So now what do I did AZD in me. Do I need to go into my environment, the new one?
No, it should see that it's the only one that's there.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I see. I've got a lot more. Do I have a lot of data? I got app data. What did I call it? I called it AI search test.
AZD ENV list. That'll show you what you have.
AZD ENV list. Right. So I have AI search test. Okay. Cool. So now I should do AZD up. Is that what you say? Right. So we're gonna configure and deploy onto my machine. Okay. Why do you mean no subscriptions found? Pretty sure I logged in.
Did you do the auth login? It's already done, right?
I mean, I set the config, but let's just try it again.
Oh, to reload subscriptions.
Maybe. Let's try it.
All right. Security is good. We like security. Secure web applications are useful. It'd be nice to have a presentation, go easy on me and security wise for the next hour button. It'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, it's logged into Azure, so.
All right. Now what happens when you do AZD up?
Which subscription is it going to pick?
Huh.
I'm pretty sure my account has subscriptions. It has quite a few subscriptions here.
So do the login one more time. Now that you went through that loop with the
Oh,
device login.
I know what it is. It's AZD app is actually going to this is not my default tenant. So how do I specify when I
Specify
log
the
in?
tenant.
Yeah, I need to specify the tenant when I log in.
Okay.
One second. AZD off login tenant. So AZD off login. How do I pick my tenant? So
dash tenant ID.
yeah, that's what I would have guessed as well. Dash tenant ID. That is why it is not.
With a dash. I don't know why that's right. Tenant dash ID.
So if I want to deploy to this one, but I want to use, where's my tenant? Where's my tenant? So let me just
go to Entra. I'd do a search for AAD in the top.
Entra D.
Yeah.
If I look at properties, if I can find it, there's my tenant ID. So now I'm just going to go into here.
It wants tenant dash ID, I think. All lowercase. No, like dash tenant dash ID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Right. Yeah, that'll be why. So if I press enter, and I go here.
It's really good that we're trying this out, actually.
Yeah, it's actually it would make sense for people who have multiple tenants and forget about that they do have multiple tenants and that is not their main tenant. Right. Again. Second out of these authentications, but I guess it's a good thing.
Like security.
Yeah, I'd rather do this rather than be
have to clean up after a hacker. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So let's have a look. Well, I've got nothing on that tenant anyway, but yeah. So if I did ACD up now.
Yeah.
See what I have. Will let me pick a subscription? Yeah, okay, cool. So this way it allows me, so cool. I'm gonna pick my Visual Studio one.
It defaulted to that one. Oh, you know what? It didn't pick it, but it defaulted.
Yeah. And what do we want to pick? Oh, by the way, did I need to because I don't remember if I had to register for any AI stuff.
East US 2. It'll probably let you get as far as deploying.
Well, let's have a look.
And actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I wonder if I didn't see any problem with my deployments either. But what if there's something I needed that I didn't have access to?
Might be true.
I didn't
see. I'll try ECS. And I'll try ECS again. Let's have a look to see what happens.
Yeah, but everything failed. Nothing failed in my deployments. So I was able to get the resources they requested.
6 vulnerabilities.
Yeah, I love it.
I know I found 0 vulnerabilities on 6. But yeah. Let's use bicep. Updating resources.
Oh wow!
Yes. What's up?
Let's see.
So you say it would take 20 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't wait for this one. I think we'll probably.
Right. Well, shall we go back to yours then?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a look. So what I'm noticing is that I'm stumped on that. I suspected that there's a break in the build, but let's spend the next few minutes just looking at the rest of the content for it. If I go to present. Right. So yeah, I was looking through the logs. I checked out the Docker logs. Everything seemed like that ran okay. I may have opted out of application insights. So I think I was able, if you look at the instructions for the ways to change the deployments, there's ways to turn on and off by setting environment variables. And I think I turned off app insights. Save money here, but that would be, here's the audio. I didn't turn it off for the live demo though.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't turned off anything. Everything code space is absolutely new. If this doesn't work off the bat, then something's up with.
So I see some requests that fail, but this doesn't look quite related to my index. Yeah, so I'm going to go and troubleshoot from the deployment. I think the next time I'm going to look at the scripts that are preparing the docs. So I'm going to try to understand actually what's happening here, how this got built. Let me put this over here. See if I can understand what's happening there and how to test what's going on with the populating of the index.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I can see that the infrastructure is there, but this is going to force me to go and learn about the pieces underneath the hood here. And if there's any data ingestion. So I need to understand the indexing process here. So there's a prep docs.python. So it creates a new index in Azure AI Search. It uploads the PDFs. It splits the PDFs and uploads the chunks in AI Search. So some pieces of this isn't working. So I think that the PDFs made it into the storage account. Demo. Demo 2024. Oh. So I can validate that the storage should be some, there's a content folder or container with no data. File shares? No. So it looks like the piece that was supposed to load the content failed. So maybe I would do that manually and get that to work. I could try to figure out what's failing on that update. So now I'm going to go and explore. I guess I'll give myself the homework assignment because now we're coming up on 7 o'clock. So my homework assignment at this point is to identify the portion of the provisioning document here that's supposed to upload the PDFs. Mm-hmm. So probably a call in here and validate that those PDFs got uploaded. I wonder if I can just use I'd be more comfortable using the PowerShell than the Python. But this should, oh, that's cool. So it sets it up. Oh, that's wild. So they're setting up the argument in PowerShell, and then they're kicking off a Python file, Python script to do that work. So I'll try to troubleshoot what's going on with that load time, that the loading of the document there. I also want to kind of look around at some of these other pieces. So this is there's YAML. There's actually look at. I can try to understand how the deployment's working inside of the GitHub workflow and try to explore that a little bit. But at this point, I'm guessing that that's where it broke down, basically on the fact that I don't see any PDFs there. So I can either load that manually and run the index again, or populate the index, or just figure out why this isn't getting loaded. Let me see here. And I wonder if it failed for both of them. And then once I resolve this issue, if I go to the storage account, go to the container for this one, content. Yeah, I'll resolve that issue. If I figure this part out, then I think that'll probably resolve my issue with the deployment. Yeah. Sorry, I've got homework for next week.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm still trying to deploy mine, but it doesn't seem to be. It's still taking a long time. You said it would take like 20 minutes because, yeah, they say that even after it deploys, it'll require another 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll give it a go, see if it works in a bit, and then I'll let you know what happens. But yeah, we can wrap up the session if you want, and then we can work on it next week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. So again, I'm going to recommend anybody who's watched this, if you're at all curious, go look at the code, go watch Pam's talk, look at some of these other resources that are here in the doc files for these. It's really useful as far as just getting my head around all of the different aspects to this. Reading this and keeping up with this project, I think, is going to be key to understanding how to use the Azure stack to build that index for their large language model. So
yeah,
let's keep learning.
Yeah, that sounds like real fun. Right. Okay, cool. We will then finish up here, and then we can carry on next time in the next Thursday video. We will carry on with this and try and hopefully you would have figured out what was actually wrong with it. So yeah. Thanks all for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Andre, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.